receiving the lowest grade in the category by the State Department of Education, receiving an F. I am proud to say today that there's out of those 9 schools, I believe at that time, you only have 3 of those schools that were receiving a failing grade or less now. You had, and I do have the numbers here, and I want to speak from accuracy here. You had in 2012 coming on board, you had Banneker receiving an A. You had Frankie Wilson McCullough receiving a C. You had Williamville Elementary School receiving an F. You had Bailey Middle School receiving an F. You had William A. Word High School receiving a D. You had Dr. Bernard C. Watson Academy receiving an F. You had Westside Leadership Academy receiving a F. You had Glen Park Academy receiving a C. You had Marquette Elementary School receiving an F. You had Beveridge receiving an F. You had Jefferson Elementary School receiving an F. Today, Banneker is still receiving an A, but McCullough, who was receiving a C in 2012, is now receiving an A. You had Williams Elementary School, who was receiving a F in 2012, now receiving an A. You have Bailey Middle School, who's receiving a F in 2012, that's now receiving an A. William A. Work, that was receiving a D, now receiving a C. You had Dr. Bernard C. Watson, who had an F, now receiving a C. Westside Leadership Academy, that was failing 5 consecutive years, now receiving a C, and it was 2 points away from receiving a B. You had Glen Park Academy, who was receiving an F, now receiving a D. And you still have Marquette, Beveridge, and Jefferson receiving A and F. New Tech receiving a D, and that's due to the unstable, they had no stable working environment. You had New Tech moving maybe 3 years straight, or let's say 2 years and a half. You had them moving from Roosevelt during the takeover, coming to the Career Center, and then receiving 2 different building administrators. So despite of our financial crises that we're in, and that's no news based off of what you see in the paper, we are still able to move the needle academically, and that is due to the success of the superintendent who was hired maybe 6 months, I believe, before I came on to the board, but have made great accomplishments with nothing, and I commend her every single day. And it's an honor to work with Dr. Pruitt for working with little, but making a lot out of the little that she was given, and the support that she receives from the board to make sure that she can continually to do what's best for students today, tomorrow, and every day. And it's so important that, you know, we support our superintendent and what she does, because she's the subject matter expert. She's who we hire as the board to carry out the day-to-day functions. We're not hired or elected to manage the school corporation. We're hired or elected to give governance and oversight in the things that Dr. Pruitt and the administration do. And I think we've done a great job in doing that compared to what you've seen. But a lot of what we have or we are faced with is something that we inherited before I or majority of the board we got on the board, received when it was handed to us. But when we took that oath of office, we swore to uphold the Constitution, and we swore and took on the ownership of the debt that the school corporation has. And I guarantee you that with the help of the legislation, and I'm going to back up, when we went downstate, Luke Henley, who was the chair of the Appropriations Committee, looked at our legislators and said, you know, something that was very profane to me, and said, why didn't we know all of what's going on down in the city of Gary? And, you know, I was waiting for an answer. No one, including Luke Henley, received that answer. But now that you have support from the Department of Education, the federal Department of Education, the USDA, the State Senate, and the House for this Gary Community School Corporation means a lot, because you have everyone looking. It's all the conspiracy theories that there's micromanaging, there's stealing of funds, and no one wants to give out information. It's just false information, because from the federal level down to the state level and to the local level, there is oversight throughout the board. This board, 2 years ago, we voted. I championed the motion when the state superintendent came in and said, you know what, I can give some support, some additional support to you financially with your Title I funds, but I'm going to have to designate Gary a high-risk designation. Well, that is a label, and it means a lot to the people that look at your school corporation on a national level. But what that means to us, it gives us some additional support dollars from Title I and allow us to get those monies up front, which before we had to pay the monies out and get reimbursed under Title I. Now we